Guys, we are lucky to have Precious Miura here, and she's been at the Diddy parties, and she's about to...
Now, if the government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being, they have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
What if we told you that beneath the glitz and glamour of Hollywood's elite parties lies a labyrinth of shocking secrets, whispered rumors, and concealed footage? Sounds like the plot of a gripping suspense thriller, right? But this isn't a script. This is real life. At least, that's what Daniel Baldwin, the 64-year-old brother of Alec Baldwin, claims. In a jaw-dropping revelation on the PBD podcast, Baldwin dropped bombshell details so explosive they could rival the juiciest twists of any soap opera. Get ready, because this story dives into a world of secret gatherings, hidden cameras, and allegations that could send seismic waves through the entertainment industry. Buckle up, this one's going to be a wild ride.
Look at Diddy, for instance. Let's take a look at him. Let's take a look at, he has videos. He has videos of the parties. Now, what I've heard, which I don't know how much of it is in mainstream media, I don't really follow the story that much, but what I've heard from friends that are attorneys, friends of mine that have represented me before, agents and so on, is there's a bidding war going on right now.
According to Baldwin, Sean Diddy Combs' infamous parties were far from your typical star-studded soirees. Sure, they had Hollywood's A-listers, jaw-dropping designer outfits, and enough glitz to rival a fashion museum. But behind the velvet ropes and beneath the sparkling surface of these glamorous events, something far darker might have been unfolding. Baldwin alleges that Diddy's parties had two very different faces. The first was the one the world saw. Picture-perfect Instagram moments filled with laughter, music, and the kind of star power that could light up Hollywood. But then there was the other side, the one most people never got to witness. This was the after-hours version, tucked away behind closed doors, where, according to Baldwin, things took a much darker turn. Whether you find it intriguing or unsettling, one thing is certain: what happened in those late-night hours might just rewrite Hollywood's history.
To not be involved with a famous singer, to not come out, here's the price. And that they're just selling to the individuals that are in those. This is what I heard. They're selling those videos. So if you're Tommy X, and Tommy X is a big, big movie star, and he was at some of the Diddy parties, he was in one of those bedrooms with 3 other men, and he's happily married to a woman, and blah. Tommy doesn't want that video to come out. He does not want it to come out.
Baldwin claims that Diddy's private gatherings weren't just about secrecy. They were under surveillance. According to Baldwin, hidden cameras were scattered throughout these exclusive events, capturing everything. He has videos of the parties, Baldwin revealed during the podcast. And here's where things take a jaw-dropping twist. Baldwin alleges that a bidding war is currently underway for these tapes. What's on them, you ask? Supposed footage of Hollywood's most iconic faces caught in less than flattering moments. The concept is as simple as it is sinister. Don't want your name or face tied to these explosive tapes. You'd better be ready to pay. They're driving the price up, Baldwin explained. If you want a client, whether a famous actor or singer, to stay out of the spotlight, here's the cost. It's like something ripped straight from the pages of a spy thriller. Only the players are your favorite actors, musicians, and cultural legends. If true, this revelation could rock Hollywood to its core.
Same thing for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the interesting thing about the Epstein and the theory about Epstein is we know he filmed people for sure on that island. He has a lot of movies, a lot of films of people that are very, very powerful political figures. And entertainers, business people. So, do you really believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself? Of course not. Of course not.
It's worth noting that Baldwin himself admitted he's never actually seen these tapes. I don't like to say things that I know unless I see it, he clarified. But that doesn't mean the rumors lack credibility. Hollywood, after all, thrives on whispers and speculation, and Baldwin's claims have poured gasoline on a fire that's been smoldering for years. Stories about Diddy's exclusive parties have circulated for decades, tales of wild antics, tight-lipped secrecy, and an air of exclusivity. But Baldwin's allegations take these rumors to an entirely new level. If what he suggests is true, these events weren't just about having a good time. They were reportedly documented in painstaking detail, and now that footage may be used as a bargaining chip, one capable of sending shockwaves through the entertainment industry.
Ever spend time with the guy? Did you ever meet Diddy?
I've met him before, yeah.
How was he?
Very nice guy, very smart, super business. He's very successful.
Baldwin's comments have ignited comparisons to some of the most notorious scandals in modern history, particularly those involving powerful men allegedly wielding leverage to control others. During the podcast, Baldwin even likened these rumored tapes to the infamous recordings Jeffrey Epstein allegedly used to manipulate his web of high-profile connections. Now he has all that footage, supposedly, Baldwin said of Diddy, adding, and it's going to be really interesting as time goes on. Interesting might be putting it lightly. If these tapes exist, and that's still a big if, they could expose some of Hollywood's most cherished icons. Imagine discovering that your favorite actor or singer was caught on one of these tapes. The fallout would be nothing short of catastrophic, sending shockwaves through the entertainment world. It wouldn't just damage the reputations of those involved. It could permanently reshape the industry itself.
So I'll tell you, I don't know how much, I don't like to say things that I know unless I see it. That there's a little difference, but was it discussed? Was there descriptions from people I know that were at those? Yes, but here's another thing. So how many of these big entertainment parties and over the years and everything with as successful as you are, have you been around? Does anyone ever come up to you at a certain hour and say, okay, it's time to go? At those parties they did.
What makes this story even more jaw-dropping is the alleged content of these tapes. While Baldwin didn't dive into the specifics, other sources have hinted that the recordings feature compromising situations involving both male and female celebrities. One witness, Courtney Burgess, reportedly testified before a federal grand jury, claiming to have seen tapes involving 8 prominent individuals, 3 of whom were allegedly minors at the time. Burgess further alleged that Diddy's late ex-girlfriend, Kim Porter, handed over the recordings, which are now said to be in the hands of federal prosecutors. If true, this could be the smoking gun linking Diddy to the allegations he's currently facing. But let's circle back to Baldwin's claim of a bidding war. If these tapes are indeed being sold to the highest bidder, it opens up a Pandora's box of ethical questions. Who is buying them, and for what purpose? Are they being purchased to protect reputations, or is there a more sinister agenda at play? And what happens if these tapes fall into the wrong hands? Baldwin suggests the stakes are astronomical, with millions, perhaps even billions, of dollars exchanging hands to keep certain names off the headlines. It's a chilling scenario that paints a grim picture of an entertainment industry seemingly more focused on burying its secrets than pursuing justice.
He had cameras all over the place, unbeknownst to them. And now he has all that footage, supposedly. This is what I'm told. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens if, you're a huge, iconic, TV star or movie star, and you're...
Baldwin shed light on the intriguing dynamics of Diddy's parties, describing a sharp divide between casual attendees and an exclusive inner circle. There were the faces that showed up for the main event, the big party, and then there was the late-night crowd, Baldwin explained. As the evening progressed, a shift occurred. The doors were locked, and only the last 40 or so attendees remained. I was never at any of those, Baldwin admitted. He claimed that less famous guests were politely ushered out, making way for a more intimate and allegedly more scandalous gathering. Anyone that wasn't super famous or clearly with someone important was asked to leave, Baldwin revealed. This raises the tantalizing question: who exactly made up the late-night crowd? While Baldwin refrained from dropping names, other reports suggest that some of Hollywood's biggest icons have graced Diddy's events over the years. A-list names like Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Jennifer Lopez have all been associated with his legendary parties. But were they part of the after-hours festivities, or did they exit with the rest of the crowd? That's the million-dollar question, or perhaps the billion-dollar one, if Baldwin's claims about a bidding war for incriminating tapes hold any weight. Whatever the case, the mystery surrounding these late-night gatherings only deepens.
It's still pretty early in the proceedings. I think it's only been about a month or a month and a half since he's been arraigned and held in detention. And so The investigations are always going to be a continuous and ongoing process. I'm sure at this point there's been an exchange of discovery. And not only that, but I think there's been a gag order placed on the attorneys with information that they can and cannot share. But
what's even more unsettling is the suggestion that some of these attendees may not have even realized they were being recorded. Reports claim that Diddy's homes were allegedly equipped with hidden cameras, capturing footage without the knowledge or consent of his guests. If true, this would constitute a massive invasion of privacy and could open the floodgates for a wave of legal challenges. It also raises unsettling questions about the level of trust, or the shocking lack thereof, within Hollywood's elite circles. How many other powerful figures might be engaging in similar practices, and how many more hidden secrets are lurking just beneath the surface. As for Diddy himself, he has vehemently denied all allegations, including the charges of trafficking and conspiracy that led to his custody at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. His legal team has dismissed these claims as baseless, insisting that Diddy is being unfairly targeted. But with a trial date set for May 2025, the clock is ticking, and the world will be watching closely to see how this story unfolds. Will the tape surface? Will any of the alleged buyers come forward? And most crucially, will justice finally be served?
Like I said, the entertainment industry is very, very, very messed up when it comes to, the bigger you get, the more you had to do to get there. And so if you're not willing to put yourself in that position, you kind of have...
One thing's for certain, this story is far from over. Baldwin's claims have unleashed Pandora's box, leaving it anyone's guess as to what might emerge next. As the rumor mill continues to churn, one can't help but wonder, just how deep does this rabbit hole go? Who else might be implicated? What other dark secrets could be lurking in the shadows of Hollywood's most exclusive gatherings? Stay tuned, because the next chapter promises to be just as explosive as the last.
I don't buy for a minute that he's going to prison without getting out of here somewhere and stashing $2 billion or whatever. I think he has that kind of power, meaning Sean himself. But remember, it goes a lot deeper than that.
So here's where things get even messier. Imagine the far-reaching implications if Daniel Baldwin's claims about a hidden network of tapes are even halfway true. We're talking about some of the biggest names in entertainment potentially entangled in a scandal so explosive it could dominate headlines for years. But here's the twist. While Baldwin remained largely vague about who might appear on these recordings, whispers are already circulating about the identities of the celebrities allegedly involved. And let's be clear, these aren't just your average red carpet regulars. We're talking about A-listers, the untouchable icons who dominate social media, headline news, and even our playlists. The real question is, how deep does their involvement go? And perhaps more disturbingly, how much did they know?
Dawn had the choice to file the case as a Jane Doe, and she chose not to do that. After giving it a fair amount of thought, she wants accountability, she wants justice.
Let's first acknowledge that Sean Diddy Combs wasn't throwing just any parties. These weren't your typical Hollywood gatherings filled with small talk and superficial interactions. No, these were lavish, exclusive, and legendary events. Over the years, Diddy built an image as the ultimate tastemaker, the guy who could throw a bash so iconic, even Leonardo DiCaprio would show up in white linen. And let's not forget his infamous white parties, which became a status symbol in their own right. If you were invited, it meant you'd officially made it in the industry. But now, with these mounting allegations, those once glamorous events are beginning to look far more sinister. Take, for example, the rumored guest list for some of these gatherings. Names like Beyoncé, Jay-Z, Jennifer Lopez, Ashton Kutcher, and even Leonardo DiCaprio have all surfaced in connection to Diddy's events. Now, let's be clear, no one is accusing these stars of engaging in anything shady. In fact, many of them may have left long before things took a questionable turn. But here's the thing, when you're in a room where the vibe is shifting, the drinks are flowing, and hidden cameras are rolling without your knowledge, it's easy to see how someone could get caught up in situations they never signed up for.
How did you keep, why did you keep going? Why were you there? I'm like, it literally is around me. If I don't stay at home, this is the atmosphere I'm in. Like, I have no choice.
Then there are the more specific allegations. One witness reportedly testified before a federal grand jury, claiming to have seen tapes featuring several well-known figures. According to this individual, the recordings were allegedly handed over by Diddy's ex, Kim Porter, before her passing. This is where things start to feel like something out of a suspense thriller. If these tapes truly exist, and if they're as incriminating as people are suggesting, it could explain the alleged bidding war currently underway. Think about it. If you were a high-profile celebrity with everything to lose, wouldn't you be willing to pay whatever it takes to keep your name out of this mess? But here's where things become even more complicated. Some sources claim that not everyone on these tapes even knew they were being filmed. According to reports, Diddy's homes were allegedly outfitted with hidden cameras, capturing everything without the guests' consent. If that's true, it changes the entire narrative. It's one thing to attend a wild party, but discovering later that your every move was being recorded? That's an entirely different scenario. And if these recordings are now being leveraged as tools for manipulation and control, it raises serious questions about the dynamics within Hollywood's most elite circles.
Very, very dominant. Like, he wants to control the situation. He wants to control his inner circle. He wants to make everyone have a good time and enjoy his parties. And so, it is scary because you think, this person or possibly his social network or the people he's around could make or break your career.
Let's talk about the mindset of those attending these events. For many, being invited to a Diddy party wasn't just an honor, it was a career move. Diddy had a reputation as a gatekeeper in the industry, someone who could make or break your career with a single phone call. So, when you're a rising star or even an established celebrity striving to stay relevant, saying no to an invite might not feel like an option. Once you're inside, the pressure to go along with the flow, to avoid stirring up trouble, can become overwhelming. That's where things start to get murky. How many of these attendees felt trapped, unable to leave even if they wanted to? How many stayed, fearing the repercussions of offending someone as powerful as Diddy?
You think LeBron James is the only one that has an interest in whether his career is destroyed? No, Nike has an interest. No, certain apparel companies have interests. No, many other people that are involved in huge businesses that are part owners of giant conglomerate companies have an interest in that. So Shaquille O'Neal owns most of JCPenney's. But you're talking about companies that if it comes out, so they might be the one that says they'd pay $25 million.
Now, let's pivot to the swirling rumors about these tapes. According to multiple sources, the alleged recordings don't just feature A-listers, they capture moments that could be deeply embarrassing or even damaging to their reputations. One insider described the footage as compromising, a term vague enough to spark endless speculation. But here's the kicker. Some of the individuals reportedly caught on tape have allegedly expressed deep concerns about being victimized. Think about that for a moment. If these tapes are as damning as people suggest, it's not just their reputations at stake. They're reliving experiences they'd rather forget.
Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise.
This brings us to the broader conspiracy theories that have begun to emerge. Some people are drawing comparisons between Diddy's tapes and the infamous Epstein case, where recordings were allegedly used as leverage over powerful individuals. The idea here isn't just blackmail, it's control. If you possess footage of someone in a vulnerable or compromising situation, you hold the keys to their reputation. You can manipulate their decisions, influence their actions, and even silence them if necessary. It's a chilling thought, but one that feels all too plausible given the power dynamics at play in Hollywood.
But it just seems very suspicious when you go through and you look at in the history of different people that can make you go away if listen, I've worried about some of the things that I talk about on my show.
Of course, not everyone is staying silent. A few celebrities have started to distance themselves from Diddy in light of these allegations. For example, 50 Cent, who has never been shy about speaking his mind, recently stated that he's been avoiding Diddy's parties for years. It's just an uncomfortable energy connected to it, he said in an interview. Meanwhile, others like Ashton Kutcher have been more cryptic, hinting at stories they can't reveal about their experiences at these events. And then there are figures like Ice Cube, who flat out denied ever attending one of Diddy's infamous gatherings, making it clear he wants no part of the conversation.
I don't know the consequences of what that could have been. So I didn't really talk about it. I should have gone to the police. I should have said something other than to my agent. I'm just thankful that there was somebody there. There was somebody at that party who helped me, because I could have ended up in a really bad situation.
But for every celebrity who speaks out, there are dozens more who remain silent, and that silence is deafening. Are they trying to avoid getting dragged into the drama, or is there more to the story? It's hard to say, but one thing is clear. The longer this scandal drags on, the more people will begin to question who knew what and when. After all, Hollywood is a town built on relationships, and it's not uncommon for people to turn a blind eye to questionable behavior if it means protecting their own interests. Let's not forget the role of the legal system in all of this. With Diddy currently facing serious charges and a trial date set for May 2025, the stakes couldn't be higher. Federal investigators have reportedly confiscated hard drives, flash drives, and other devices during raids on Diddy's properties, leading to speculation that these items could contain the very tapes Baldwin and others have alleged. If true, it's only a matter of time before the truth comes to light, whatever that truth may be.
And the Diddy $100 million default judgment that we reported on early.
So, where does that leave us? On one hand, you have a mountain of rumors, allegations, and unverified claims. On the other, a public increasingly hungry for answers. The question now is whether those answers will ever come to light. Will the tapes be released? Will the bidding war Baldwin mentioned ever reach its conclusion? And if it does, who will come out on top? Buyers seeking to bury the footage or prosecutors determined to expose the truth? What's perhaps most fascinating about this entire saga is how it underscores the darker side of fame and power. For years, Diddy was seen as a symbol of success, someone who had managed to transcend the boundaries of hip-hop and become a global icon. But now, with these allegations hanging over him, that carefully constructed image is starting to crumble. And as it does, it's pulling others down with it, whether they deserve it or not.
And a lot of the evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those two raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named freak-offs.
At the end of the day, this story isn't just about Diddy. It's about the culture of secrecy and manipulation that exists within the entertainment industry, about the lengths people will go to protect their reputations, their careers, and their legacies. It's also about the cost of that protection, not just in terms of money, but in trust, integrity, and ultimately, accountability. So, what do you think? Are these tapes real? If they are, who do you think might be on them? And how far would someone go to keep their name out of this scandal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more updates as this story continues to unfold, because trust us, this is just the beginning.